This episode of the Bottle Rocket podcast is brought to you by GamerClips.tv. Play, share and watch video game frags and clips with hundreds more added every day. Hit the link in the comments section to check them out.
Yeah, sorted.
Check the t-shirt, by the way.
Los bolos
hermanos.
Yes.
The Chicken Brothers.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Bottle Rocket podcast with me, Chris.
Me, Ben.
And me, Jake.
Me the month.
Now it's been a sad week, as we're all already aware.
It has indeed.
Yes. Yep.
We've lost a hero.
Yes, Robin Williams. Mrs. Doubtfire.
What?
Fantastic impression.
Yes. He won
thanks.
an Oscar as well, but you know.
Yeah, no, true.
But he'll be best known for dressing up as a large Scottish lady.
That is not a bad legacy.
No, he's got an amazing legacy.
Well, look, the guy is gone, and we've got massive grins on our faces just thinking about it. So,
yeah, I mean it's terrible, and it just shows that even one of the funniest men on the planet can suffer from depression, and it drive him to that state. So, you know, there's obviously plenty of help out there for people if they need it, and just get it, take it, use it. It's something that...
yeah, I think. He was like larger than life in every aspect, but I always thought for somebody to be like that, you've got to be compensating for something or hiding something or making up for some kind of defect that you presume that you have. Obviously, he suffered with like drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and depression. So it's a shame that it had to sort of end the way that it did. But yeah, he was a great guy, great actor, funny.
Yeah.
Happiness. Yeah.
But yeah, we just wanted to sort of pause to take a moment to reflect on that and what a huge impact he's had on all of us, really.
Exactly. I mean, we're of a generation where we grew up with him and his shows on television, and
Jumanji,
Aladdin. Things like that, like just kind of bits of your childhood.
I think Aladdin was probably the very first cartoony film that I ever watched as a kid. It probably was.
I agree. I think it's probably one of mine as well. Like
one of your all-time favourites that you think when you're a child and yeah, Aladdin's there.
First full-length Disney feature film, probably.
Yeah.
One of the ones that I watched. So it's incredibly sad, and a bit of a depressing way to start a podcast, but
it certainly is. But I mean, like I said, we just wanted to acknowledge the fact.
Yeah, we've got to give props to the man. So.
And always a firm supporter of the gaming community, which is nice.
Yes, which is a lovely segue to bring us back onto topic, really.
Segue.
Now, I'm a little bit guilty this week of being absent from news, having been down in Cornwall at the Boardmasters Surf, Skate and BMX Festival.
Yes, being blown away from
surviving the remnants of Hurricane Bertha.
Boardmaster, it blew me away. Chris
literally. So I'm relying on you guys to fill me in with the news from the weekend.
Basically, nothing happened, and you should have stayed there. Yeah, that's all.
Now I can't believe that for one moment.
Yeah.
It was a blatant lie, and lots have happened, and you missed it all. You noob.
I have some Robin Williams news. Essentially, because do you know Robin Williams played a lot of World of Warcraft, often under accounts that didn't highlight that he was Robin Williams, but he did play quite a lot of it. And shortly after he died, they set up a petition to create a tribute character for him within the game, and it gathered 11,000 signatures within 24 hours. So they're not entirely certain how exactly they're going to do it, but what they're asking for is there to be a permanent tribute character performing at the World's End Tavern, just kind of delivering best material forever in the World of Warcraft, which
that would be beautiful.
Awesome.
Do you think that it's kind of ironic that he acted under certain aliases. But if his character was called I Am Robin Williams, literally no one on the earth would have believed that it was Robin Williams.
So I take it down there in the World's End Tavern, he's going to be sharing some stage time with the Touring Chieftains.
Of course.
Down there quite regularly.
Mm.
But no, that's a wonderful way for a sort of game that he famously plays to pay tribute to.
Yeah. And it's lovely for the gaming community to kind of come behind it as well so quickly. And 11,000 people signing that petition within 24 hours. That's huge.
It's remarkable. But again, that just shows the power of community gamers.
Yeah.
And the sway that they've got.
Own the world.
They can rule the world.
And just how much impact I guess he's had on people of our sort of generation and kind of the Warcraft community. So it's a very fitting tribute for him within World of Warcraft. I mean, I'm certain there are many other fitting tributes for him in every other arena. You're
probably gonna see him in The Legend of Zelda at some point as well.
Oh, that'd be great.
In some sort of homage in that as well. I would expect them to get on that bandwagon as well. But yeah, let's talk about Gamescom.
No.
Yeah, Gamescom.
This is your time to shine, Mance.
It's over.
Time to shine. I was there glued to my screen, watching and taking it all in.
What are the highlights?
I forgot.
Oh, really?
Well,
we sent our investigative reporter, Mance,
and he forgot.
to the Gamescon live feed, which I can't even say.
I thought it was quite a good one. I finished work today. I went on to the Machinima did a like an Xbox versus PlayStation review, and the comments are literally just a million people trolling saying both Xbox and PlayStation, Sony, Microsoft, whatever, they're the worst conferences ever, which is kind of a bit extreme because PlayStation's was mint, and it just indie all the way. Indie, Far Cry, clips from Drive Club, which looks mega, clips from Assassin's Creed was a bit on there, more Call of Duty, it's mega. Just more gameplay was what kind of more of.
A little bit
less talking, more gameplay.
A little bit before the podcast, I tried to sort of speed catch up on what was going on, and it did seem like trailer after trailer. Not a lot of new stuff than we've seen from E3. I felt.
I think that Gamescom isn't really the platform for that. I mean, it's I wouldn't even call it a mini E3. It's just an excuse for the big companies to get out there and start selling some new products or some of the same old announced products. Where Microsoft's show was all about stuff they've already announced, like Quantum Break, Sunset Overdrive, some stuff about COD. Sony pretty much announced like 5 or 6 new titles, most of them indie titles as well. So obviously big back in the indie still. But yeah, I mean overall it was pretty good. It's better to have something like that than have nothing for the rest of the year. We've got Tokyo Game Show coming up soon as well, so that'll be something else.
Yeah.
And I guess if they have to keep on attending these conferences and like cracking out demos and videos and things like that, I'd kind of rather they were just working away on the games in some ways. Like I don't know, because I don't tend to follow the conferences that aren't E3. Is that maybe really bad as a
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
so sad. It's because E3 is just such this massive mega event, and I guess they kind of announce things, comic book conventions now and all sorts of other bits and bobs. So there's a lot of kind of time for developers to have to kind of attend all these conferences and keep on coming up with new stuff, really. But I guess they kind of all serve a different purpose. Was there anything that kind of like blew your mind, Mance, from kind of this lot that came out?
From Sony?
Yeah.
Drive Club by far looks the best looking game of the year by a long way. He had a couple of people live on stage doing a few demos, and they were like trialing this new camera system they've got whereas the camera on some races will just be around the car. When you've paused it and you want to do an instant replay, where this kind of like unhooks from the car and can like free float in the air. and the detail on the rain and on the tarmac and on the cars. Oh, it's
a labour of love.
Yes.
it'd be good.
A lot of love and a lot of labour.
So I mean, the problem I've got with that is it's another racing game, and I'm getting so bored with racing games now that you can put whatever decent looking skin you want on it. It's still me versus you first to the finish line.
Chris, this is a side of I don't think I've heard before.
Yeah, I know. You're talking to Mr. Gran Turismo here.
Yes.
And I'm just a bit disillusioned. I just want something new, something different.
Something that isn't driving around in a circle.
Yeah, and taking time to look at the scenery. I mean, it's great that we're getting a look at what these consoles, a sort of a beginning look at what these consoles can do visually. And I think Drive Club's going to be an important game for that.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of an actual game, I'm just waiting for something more to titillate me.
Chris, your mic's dropping just a little bit.
All right, okay, I'll
That's better.
I'll have a look over that bit.
I think that the Drive Club, if they get the social aspect of it right, the whole actually becoming a club and competing against other clubs, friends clubs, then I mean it sounds like a bit of a sort of forced competition between perhaps yourself and your friends, but it could be interesting if they make it like really interactive and they sort of if you say Bottle Rocket challenges Machinima, for instance, if it like fires up a little chat board where we can sort of trash talk against other people before we start challenging them, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's nice. That'd be a nice little way of using it. Are
they trying to make it sort of MMO-y in some ways, and that you kind of form a guild almost?
Well, I think effectively, yeah. You form your club, which presumably, if we all get the game, we can do Bottle Rocket.
Yep.
And we'll challenge other clubs and be actively challenged, possibly forced together by clubs of the same sort of skill level.
Right. Terrible clubs.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
So I mean that sort of brings up an interesting point. So I mean it just seems to me like a lot of games now are vying for this multiplayer MMO sort of platform, and me being a sort of gaming loner, I love the single player adventure, and there's certain things that you can't get, the certain set pieces and certain ways of playing that you just can't get in a multiplayer environment, and I just fear losing that.
Yeah.
In a driving game though.
But I'm talking about across the whole spectrum. Like you've got a big adventure game like Destiny coming out where the main emphasis is multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
You just got Last of Us come out where the main emphasis is the fact that it's got an epic single player.
That's true, but no multiplayer basically.
But it's a remaster.
Yeah, like a deathmatch tagged on kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just worry that the drive now is to make them games.
Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from, but they're probably thinking in terms of appealing to as many games as possible, and to do that, obviously being connected, to coin a phrase, is one of the more desirable elements from like the big wigs, Sony, Microsoft. That's what they perceive as our wants. That's not necessarily true across the board. There are a lot of developers making games with just single-player campaigns. I mean, maybe you should look towards the indie side of things, because there's a hell of a lot of indie games that are like beautifully crafted and made.
Papers, Please as well.
Yeah, exactly, and they just play pretty much single-player.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it is a part of this kind of trend that games now have to kind of appeal to everyone, which is a bit sad, really. Like say, like maybe kind of it'd be nice if developers did focus on producing like a really good single player game. Like if you look at the most recent Sim City, that was just an absolute debacle. Did you hear about any of this when it came out? Like
the one where the server just did not go.
Yeah, basically, like it was.
Yeah, I got a free game out of.
Oh, did you? Did they give it you? Did you give you money?
What was it now? Need for Speed something I got out of that.
Oh yeah, that was it. They offered like a sort of a list of 8 games from EA's back catalog for free, didn't they?
Yeah.
One of which was SimCity 3000 and SimCity 4. Like it was like the better SimCities. You can have one of those.
Wasn't that just DRM gone mad though?
I mean, it was, yeah, essentially. So this was, SimCity is basically kind of like a model train set, as in it is the ultimate sort of solo hobbyists thing, right? As in you sit in a room on your own, building a city very carefully on your own, and then EA basically were talking for about a year about how wonderful it's going to be that you can do this online with all your friends, and then they kind of said that you have to do it online, and then it just broke. Like completely broke.
I downloaded it, say at 9 o'clock in the morning. I think I got it, and I couldn't get on all day. It just wouldn't. I just couldn't not get on at all.
And it meant that there were other restrictions, like because you had to be sort of synchronized with the servers so often. It meant it could only have like little tiny cities. It meant that you couldn't use any words that were considered vaguely offensive in any of your names for things. Yahtzee in his review said he wanted to call his city Dog's Bollocks, but was not allowed to in case the children saw it.
In case it offended.
So it might be a kind of minor point, but like this is a game that was previously like a really good single player experience that through forcing it through a multiplayer angle has made it objectively worse. And I think it is worrying, like if everything has to be multiplayer, then we're going to lose perhaps some of these experiences eventually. I think the indie scene will always be able to offer some reprieve, but it's nice to have AAA purely solo player titles, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I suppose you've got Alien Isolation coming out. That looks pretty good. I mean, I suppose you have to be a fan of the Alien franchise and horror games. But
yeah, I mean that game's going all out survival horror, isn't it? That's
yeah.
That by the look of it, it's going to be more of a cinematic, sort of make your senses tingle sort of game.
But it is purely single player as well, which is the good thing to take away. That they are some developers are still committing their resources to making these single player experiences, and it hopefully will be an experience and not just a game, if you will.
Yeah, you can.
Is that the one where they cut out Ellen Ripley and you have to like buy her separately? Or am I thinking of a different Alien game?
I think that Ripley, there's some kind of skin pack or something if you buy the limited edition, but the premise of the game is that you play as Ripley's daughter, and you go onto the Nostromo, I think, to find out what happened or some shit along them lines.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think anybody watching this can keep their eyes peeled for a Let's Play of at least a couple of us shitting our pants at that at that game.
Just lots of videos of just and a motion sensor just kind of pinging.
What's that horror? Is that the horror game that was in the PlayStation Gamescom event? I can't think what it was. They used some live recorded webcams from people playing this horror game, and they were cacking themselves. They were like quivering in the corner.
Horror games. I mean,
I can't think what it was called.
Not The Order.
Can't think what it was called.
The Order 1886.
I know that at Gamescom they released an interactive demo or something of a game which was called PT, and it turns out
that could have been it.
But it turns out that it's a new Silent Hill game being co-developed by Hideo Kojima and
Guillermo
del Toro.
That sounds really interesting.
So it could be totally badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's two. That's a collision of two fantastic minds there.
Yeah, I mean Hideo is mad, right? Like just like complete batshit Michael Jackson, grade A insane.
Yes.
I mean, have you played Metal Gear Solid 4? Like it's
mental.
And
the good thing is though, I suppose, is Hideo Kojima has obviously is in tune with Supernatural. I mean that's been within the Metal Gear Solid series from day one.
Yeah.
But him and Guillermo del Toro, who's prolific in horror and ghosts and really freaky stuff, freaky deaky. That's it. It could end up being like probably the scariest game ever.
Yeah.
Or at least the weirdest.
Has Guillermo del Toro done any video games before, or has he only kind of done cinema?
To my knowledge, he's only done cinema.
Yeah.
I can have a look at that while we continue talking about something else.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I was just, if it is one of the first video game things he's done, then awesome. Because I think you don't hear that very often. That, as in, big name cinema directors getting on board with video games. As in that kind of really rarely happens, right?
I think you can expect to see more of it.
And a good thing too. And I'd love to see the creature from Pan's Labyrinth with the eyes and the hands in a Silent Hill game. For fuck's sake.
A movie made by the people that make not Fallout, the other one, Bioshock.
Standing.
Oh, yes, Ken Levine's crew.
A film with like massive big brothers and little sisters and stuff. Yeah.
Could you imagine having the hands guy stand next to the Pyramid Head with his 9-foot sword?
I think
in the same sequence.
But I think we've definitely seen a massive influx of Hollywood stars in video games, so it makes sense that the crews are going to start following.
Did you know Vin Diesel plays Warcraft?
Yes. Does he?
Oh. Did you know?
I didn't know that.
I was fully aware that he's an avid.
I'm not sure if he still plays.
Does he play like a barbarian or something? Oh.
I guess so. I guess he plays a massive tank. And he stands there.
Yeah,
I am Groot.
We'll just spend just a tiny little bit on this, but I took Jake to see Guardians of the Galaxy last night.
Yeah.
My second time. And we
Look
won't
at my happy face.
We won't go on about it because we spent like pretty much a whole week last week just talking about it. So we'll just say, I'm just going to say it was just as good the second time round, if not better.
It was great. Chris didn't overhype it. Surprise.
Why don't we talk about probably the biggest talking point from Gamescom? That Rise of the Tomb Raider is exclusive to Xbox platforms.
Oh yeah.
Next year.
Scumbags.
Absolute BS. I mean,
and the release schedules are close between it and Uncharted as well, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I think that Phil Spencer of Microsoft or somebody described it as a win-win situation. But I mean, who's it win-win for? The 5 people who bought an Xbox One and Microsoft. What about everybody else?
Yeah. It's a win-win-lose situation.
The losers in capitals.
Yes.
Oh, they've said. Oh no, Crystal Dynamics came out and said, "Oh, but we're not abandoning our PC and PS4 players. You can play Tomb Raider in the Temple of Osiris." Who the fuck wants to play that shit when you've got the AAA awesome follow-up?
Hey, Lara Croft: The Guardian of Light was a great game. I can't wait to play
it. It actually was. I'm with Jake on that one.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Well, you losers can play that shit. While I wait until the 2016 Game of the Year edition of Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Oh, keep your money in your wallet.
It'll come across eventually. They always do. I mean, these days. They say like, well, it's like you could have this much money, or you could make this much more money by tweaking it slightly and selling it on PlayStation 4 and PC.
Well, I think what happened was the massive amount of fallout caused Microsoft to come out the next day and say that we don't know how long the deal's going to sort of remain exclusive for after their initial deal runs out. That's up to sort of Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics, whoever. But I can almost 100% guarantee that it's going to be out on PlayStation 4 and PC within probably 12 to 18 months.
Yeah. I would put money on it. I really would. Like it was an odd move, but I think it is just kind of them trying to inspire competition again. But especially with like a third-party IP like Tomb Raider, Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Something that Microsoft makes in-house, or something quite close to their chest, like Halo. You would never expect that to go on PlayStation, but Tomb Raider.
Yeah, exactly. Tomb Raider found its feet on like PlayStation platforms.
It did, didn't it? I mean, PS1, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But
PS1 you could watch the butler in the fridge. Was it the fridge?
Oh yeah,
walking fridge. Yeah.
That was a mental hard challenge when I was younger, trying to do that.
Yeah.
Because you had to get the guy to follow you as slow as he did all the way around the house, and then do the obstacle course around the house to trap him in the fridge. That was bad. That was badass. That was probably the thing I did most in the game.
Exactly. And I bet you did it.
Apart from trying to kill the T-Rex.
Yeah, you did it all without being awarded an achievement point for it.
Yeah, well, yeah, true.
Just so you could remember locking the butler in the fridge.
Yeah. What did we do before the days of achievement points?
We made our own achievements. We found things in the game that we wanted to do, and we did that.
Yeah.
The disappointing thing as well with trophies and achievements is that they don't reward you for any of those cool things, though. It's like, oh, kill 5 people, then kill 500 people, and you get, progression of gold, silver, or points, whatever. But you don't get any of these like mental made-up challenges anymore, like lock Alfred in the freezer. But you don't get any hints on how to do it. You just have to find out yourself.
Yeah, they reward you for things the developers thought were cool, not necessarily what you think's cool, which is a shame, I think.
Definitely.
Damn them.
Damn them trying to make things.
Unlike this Little Big Planet, then you get stupid achievements come out, like build a triangle out of squares or something. Random stuff like that.
Build a triangle out of squares.
I was really disappointed that we didn't see more of No Man's Sky at Gamescom because I mean obviously we're sort of hanging on that little clip that we got at E3. I was hoping for a little bit more for that.
I don't know. You can get your hands on a nice big 7-minute chunk of gameplay. That's floating about the YouTube airwaves at the moment. But I mean, for me, I'd just rather that small bunch of guys in that little workshop just carried on working on the game rather than tasty videos to show off.
Exactly.
The three guys that are making the game.
Because I really can't wait to just have a look at what that game's all about.
If one of those guys has to stop making that game, to make another video for E3, that's literally like a third of the team not working on that game.
Yeah, keep it up, guys. You're onto something brilliant.
The thing is, Chris, will you even have a PlayStation by the time this game comes out, or is that a lie too?
I think at the beginning of September, I might have a certain coloured PlayStation waiting for me.
Here is not the place for accusations. Anyway, I will play it when it inevitably comes out on PC.
And I'll wake up and my PlayStation will be missing, ironically.
Yes. This is Chris's plan all along.
My Batman sticker on that I recently ordered. Damn them.
Oh, did anybody catch the Destiny multiplayer trailer from Gamescom? It looks absolutely freaky deaky. Up the chain sick, bro. Awesome.
That good.
I couldn't pick Destiny up anymore, I don't think, but that trailer just like I didn't play any of the Crucible when I was on the beta or the alpha, but that trailer made the Crucible look freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge part of the game, and definitely the replayability of it. I think they had a huge success with the earlier Halo games in the multiplayer format, and Bungie really seem like they're going to carry that over into Destiny and in the Crucible. And there's plenty of stuff you can do in there, and I think that's really going to add to the sort of lifespan of the game. Yeah. But talking lifespan, they've already announced the first expansion.
They have, haven't they? I saw that on Eurogamer.
They've already announced that there's 2 expansions coming out. If you buy the limited edition or the digital deluxe edition, you get season pass for DLC chapters 1 and 2. So we already knew they were coming out.
Yeah, but we've got a release date in December now, is it?
Yeah, December.
Yeah. It's difficult to know what to think with a game like Destiny as well, because it was always going to be kind of episodic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They're always going to kind of release chunks that you sort of bought separately, and they haven't really kind of announced how they're going to price it all or how long each chunk's going to be.
Yeah,
so
that's going to be of massive, massive importance.
Yeah.
Well,
so
supposedly,
buying a season pass for something where you don't even know how long it's going to be seems a bit, yeah. At the moment.
Well, the season pass only entitles you to chapter 1 and 2, which to me suggests there's going to be probably a couple more chapters before Destiny 2 comes out. But they're supposed to be releasing a new Destiny main title every 2 years for the next sort of 8 years in a cycle, plus downloadable content. So God knows, it could be massive. Could just be a massive money grabber. Who knows? But I'll at least enjoy Destiny as it is, and then I'll see where we go from there.
One of my favorite news stories this week was the realization that the Destiny logo looks like Master Chief's crotch.
Have we got a picture of that?
We should Google image some of those things. I'm just going to find you something, and I'll see if I can kind of screen share it with you lot, because it is quite close. Destiny logo.
Is that a bit of a fuck you from Bungie, do you think, or is it just purely coincidental?
I think it's whenever I see the Destiny logo.
Do you believe in coincidences, Chris?
I do believe in coincidences in some cases, but I think in this case it may be something else.
All right, let me see if I can make the Google work. Hang on.
It's coming.
Can you see that?
Thank you, cheeseburger.com, for supplying this funny.
You're welcome. So enjoy that. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I think kind of undermines the gravitas of the space opera somewhat. Their crotch logo.
Yeah.
And on that bombshell.
There's a pun there somewhere, and we can't think of it.
Yeah,
come on.
I might overdub one back in if I'm clever enough to think of something in the next 24 hours.
Some canned laughter.
On that note, we're going to call time for this week. I'd just like to remind everybody that we are available on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and any of the other social networking platforms. Just search for us at Bottle Rokkit, Rokkit spelt Rokkit. And bottle, for the people that watch the first 10 podcasts, is spelled Bottle, not single T.
Bottle Rokkit.
Takes a keen eye to pick that one up, because I missed it for 10 episodes.
It's fine. You've got faces now as well, so you don't even have to kind of watch that for half an hour.
Yeah, definitely. I think next week I want to spend a little bit of time talking about Stoke-on-Trent, which is a Comic-Con that's coming local to us for the first time ever. We just want to shed a little light on that for anybody who has no idea where our little town is. And yeah, that'll be next week. So for this week, I have been Chris.
I've been Ben.
I've been Jake.
I've been the monk.
Catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi guys, welcome to another.
What's the order?
Wow.
Me. What is the order? Me, Ben, Jake Mance.
Oh, what?
Do you want to go